Snoop Dogg was recently on Joe Rogan, and he said we all have one job to do every day: wake up and do you. And it's maybe is the future where we're all collaborating and not competing in this kind of
Mm.
old school structure. Do you have thoughts on that? Because I know Snoop is a big supporter of the Sandbox.
Oh yeah, no, I think that's absolutely true. And frankly, the collaboration we've had with him in the Sandbox is actually the most successful third-party brand collaboration. So with all due respect to Atari and the Smurfs and Adidas, Snoop seems to have resonated with the demographic that's most excited about the Sandbox. And I think honestly, it's because he's done a fantastic job with his own brand, across. Um, Continually reinventing himself. Obviously, guys like you and I remember him because he's, in fact, the same age as us. Fun fact.
Yeah.
We remember him from the early days of his career, but he means new things and different things to the younger generations today. So he's kept himself relevant, and I think that's why he resonates with so many audiences.
Yeah, it's amazing to watch him grow. My kids were watching a show the other day, and it was like a science show, and Snoop was there. I was like, "What's going on here?" I mean, we grew up with Snoop in the '90s, where his song was "Murder Was the Case That They Gave Me," and he just continually innovates. He's cooking with Martha Stewart, and he's a great point of reference to anybody who wants to just stay relevant.
Yeah.
What's he done with you in the Sandbox? I know he's building his mansion in there. Maybe you can
Yes.
talk about what you're doing with Snoop, and then maybe talk about what the Sandbox actually is.
Sure. So the Sandbox is essentially a user-generated content platform. So if you're familiar with Minecraft or Roblox, these are environments where people spend time and have tool sets that allow them to be able to build their own creations. So in the Sandbox, we have what we call a voxel editor, which allows you to create this sort of classic arcade 8-bit graphic style. It's very simple. Think of it like, building with Lego blocks. And the idea behind the art style is that it's simple enough that it's accessible to anybody, so that anybody can make cool stuff. And what you do is you buy land and you create things on that land, whatever it is. You want to create a cafe so your friends come over and hang out with you. You want to create a game. You want to create a little museum to show off your NFT artwork, whatever. It's totally up to you. So it's just a virtual representation of physical space so that people can come together and do cool stuff. And so what we've done over the last 4 years that we've been building it is we seeded a community of creators, to have them create really cool content. So because you have to, you need that spark to get it started. And we wanted to create tons of cool content. And then on top of that, when the users come in, they get inspired, they create their own stuff, and it takes off from there. And we've seen, with the success of other UGC platforms, what happens when you give tools to players to go and create great stuff, because they're going to make much more interesting stuff than we could ever think of ourselves. So Sandbox has become, I think, quite a leading metaverse property based on that idea, because it's really one of the first UGC platforms with critical mass of players. And so Snoop, we collaborated with him to essentially create a Snoop environment and a club, which reflects his branding. So you've got his mansion, you've got his cars, you've got his music, and it's a place where you can go and hang out with Snoop.